Hey YouTube, it's me Zerbe. I'm going to be doing something different today. I'm going to be walking you through how I generally like to make teams on Showdown and Pokemon in general. I'm going to be using Showdown just for simplicity's sake of this, but I mean honestly it can apply to the games or anything else you like to use. So let's get started. Thing number one, whenever you're building a team, always have Smogon and Zerbe up so that you can have a reference point to use to help you create your team. So in case you need to look up stats or viable movesets from Smogon or EV builds. Generally Smogon will have the best builds though, just throwing it out there. Zerbe will give you weird stuff to do like cursing Crobat with White Herb. So, yeah. So let's get started. Now, first thing I like to do when I'm making a team, since I primarily play OU, I'm going to be using OU and under Pokemon. So if you're looking for an Ubers guide, sorry, I don't do Ubers. No, I don't do Ubers. That'd be disgusting. I don't play in Ubers. First thing I like to do is I like to look through all the Megas, because Mega Evolutions, in my opinion, you should always run one in this day and age, because I mean, why not? Sure, some of their counterparts might actually hit harder than the Mega counterpart just by having a Life Orb or Choice Band or whatnot. Usually this is the case with Life Orb. But I mean, some of the potential of the Megas you just outright can't ignore, like Slowbro. Like, his Mega is one of the most defining new ones in terms of like just things you cannot kill ever without phasing them out. Stuff like, I mean, heck, Salamence, his Mega got him rebanned back to Ubers. Well, not Salamence himself, but his Mega did, you know. Rayquaza, I mean, this guy got his own tier made because he was just that bad, okay? So, let's start. Let's figure out a Mega to use. Lately, I've been a big fan of Mega Metagross, so we'll go with him. Let's see we'll make him Metal Face. Metagross site. Okay. Now, the Mega of your team is going to be what you build the rest of your team around generally. In addition to the other standard stuff I think every team should always just have on it in general. So let's get started with what our moveset for Mega Metagross is going to be. If you want to be weird like me and run the Home Claw set, which is what I'm actually going to do, that's actually a really interesting set for Mega Metagross, because he has a lot of moves that benefit from the accuracy boost, including Meteor Mash and Zen Headbutt here, which both gain perfect accuracy after a Home Claws boost. But in addition to that, it also boosts Mega Metagross's attack, which, if you don't know, when Metagross Mega evolves, he actually doesn't get that much more attack. Like, regular Metagross has, let's see, base 135 attack. I know you can't see because of the screen recording, but just take my word for it. Whereas Mega Metagross has only 145. He makes up for that with his ability, but the extra attack boost from Home Claws can, you know, still really help out. It's the accuracy more so that you want, though. So Meteor Mash, Zen Headbutt, Dual Stabs. This is something I make sure all my Pokemon have. If they have dual typings and they have attacks worth using on both fronts, always carry a Dual Stab. This won't obviously be the case if, you know, you got a move pool that's just way better than anything your Dual Stabs alone by themselves can accomplish, but that's, again, situational, debatable for whatever Pokemon you're building around. So let's see, Meteor Mash, Zen Headbutt. Mega Metagross tends to run into a lot of bulky waters, particularly Slowbro. So we'll also run Thunder Punch, which is the next best thing we've got to actually hit him with. And then for the build, max attack, max speed. There's no reason to go anything else. Jolly, so that he can be the he can be pretty quick once he megas up, because when he turns into Mega Metagross, he gains base 110 speed, which is not bad at all, actually. And then the last 4 EVs, always dump them into the lower defense stat, because HP you actually want to leave at a odd number, if I can highlight it, usually, because when your HP is at an odd number, when factoring in Stealth Rocks, you actually take less damage, technically speaking. Like, as a theoretical, let's make a Volcarona real quick. Give you an example of how this can be relevant. Okay, Volcarona. See how its base HP is 85 and it evens up to 311? If I made it 312 by putting 4 EVs in, Volcarona would die from 2 Stealth Rock switch-ins. Whereas if you had an odd number like I do here, it won't die. Just something to keep in mind. This won't apply if you're making a Pokemon bulky though, so just keep it in mind for Pokemon that are straightforward, you know, 252 in an attacking stat and 252 speed. Alright, step number 2 I like to do after I've made my Mega is I follow my next rule, which is have an even number of physical attackers and special attackers. Since we already got a physical attacker as our first Pokemon for our Mega, I like to go for a special now. I also won't be using legendaries for the sake of this, so if you're looking for that as well, sorry, can't help you. Let's see, special. As a universal rule of thumb, if you need a special attacker, Rotom Wash will always be pick number 1, simply because Rotom is one of the best special attackers in OU, if only because of its ability to also tank special hits like nobody's business that doesn't have an Assault Vest, or is not named Chansey or Blissey. But, for the sake of this, let's go with, let's actually go with Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz won't technically be a special attacker, but for the sake of Mega Metagross, Mandibuzz will actually help deal with 3 of its weaknesses, actually, because Metagross is weak only to Fire, Ground, Ghost, and Dark, and 2 of those attacks Mandibuzz resists, which is Ghost and Dark, and it's immune to flying. Immune to flying? What the crap? It's flying, so it's immune to ground. Excuse me. This is what I like to do with building the core defense of the team as well. I like to double check through everybody for weaknesses to make sure that there's no shared weaknesses, or if there are, at least no more than 2 shared weaknesses. Because when half your team is weak to one type, that can be really, really bad if you get into a situation where the other 3 members of your team are dead and you're just down to the 3 guys that are, say, all weak to ground, fire, ice, you know, really common attacking types. So, you know, stuff you don't want to have to deal with. Mandibuzz will go Defog, Roost, Foul Play, and, let's see. We'll go Whirlwind. So it'll be our general phasing Pokemon. This will also be a physically defensive Mandibuzz, because Mandibuzz makes a really good physical wall, as you can see. It can take hits on both sides pretty well, actually. And with Foul Play, we won't have to worry about any investment in attack, because Foul Play works off of their the enemy's attacking stat. So you can also use Mandibuzz to help you deal with Pokemon that have gotten out of hand or gotten too many boosts. Now, I'm not going to say that Mandibuzz is going to, say, live a +4, you know, Thunder Punch or Stone Edge, or, like, you know, anything on the special side as well, Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, and they're going to live nothing like that. But, I mean, it's still going to be able to help deal with stuff early on, especially if they try to get greedy and keep setting up in Mandibuzz's face. That's what you got Whirlwind for. Item, leftovers. Whenever you have a Pokemon that is meant to take hits, you should have one of 3 items no matter what that Pokemon is. Leftovers, Assault Vest, or Rocky Helmet. Again, depending on what kind of wall it is. If it's a physical wall, definitely Rocky Helmet, because that will help you get some extra chip damage, especially if you're a Pokemon like Ferrothorn, where your ability hits them if they hit you with a physical move, so you can get twice the amount of chip damage with that. But for the sake of this, we'll just go with leftovers, because, I mean, you can't go wrong with it. Alright. After Mandibuzz, let's see what we're working with. We are working with, we still need a special, which I need to get to right now, actually. When in doubt, I like to use, we'll go ahead and put Rotom, since I'm thinking about him right now. Rotom will also double as our special wall. So let's see, what is it? I think it's Hydro Pump, Volt Switch, Will-O-Wisp. Alright, there's dashes. And Rest. Yeah, and actually we're going to make the item chest though. And then from here you should, what do you mean? Thank you, okay. From here it should give you the option to just click Specially Defensive. I'm pretty sure that's the one listed in Smogon as well. Let me check. Wash. Defensive. Special attacking tang. Special tang. Especially defensive. 248, 216. Okay, they messed up the EVs on speed and whatnot, but I mean, this will be fine. Rotom doesn't need to be that. Doesn't need any speed investment really, unless you want to outspeed other Rotoms. But I mean, you don't really need to do that. Whew. All right, so we got a special, a physical, a sort of I wouldn't already call it a physical attacker so much as a support Pokemon. So now we need to go to, say, physical. Now, we're currently worrying about 2 things. One, we have a ground weakness shared between Rotom and Metagross. Rotom only applies with that, though, if they have Mold Breaker. Since he has Levitate, he can dodge ground moves, which is also helpful for Metagross, because you can dodge ground moves that are trying to hit Metagross, and in addition to that, fire moves aimed at Metagross, Rotom Wash can eat up, because he's part water. Now we want something that's got a bit more power behind it. We want something that's heavy hitting. And when I think heavy hitters, I always go to Conkeldurr, because he's one of my favorite Pokemon. Male, Guts. We'll make this one an Assault Vester. Because even though we have a specially defensive Rotom, it can never be a bad thing to have a backup Pokemon that can take special hits really well. And in my opinion, Conkeldurr is one of the best Assault Vest users. And he's one of like 3 Pokemon I even bother putting Assault Vests on that I use often enough that's OU. So let's see, Drain Punch. The thing about Conkeldurr makes him so good is because Assault Vest stops you from using like status moves, you have to find other ways of like recovering your health, and Conkeldurr has that pretty much in spades with Drain Punch. Drain Punch, Mach Punch, Ice Punch, and then if you want you can run Knock Off, Payback, or Poison Jab. I run Knock Off just for that utility, because Knock Off was something you also could have put on Mandibuzz, but if we're sending Mandibuzz out to deal with Pokemon that have got too many boosts up, specifically attack boosts, Foul Play is the better option there over Knock Off, because I mean, odds are their item is something that's only giving them a minor boost in comparison, and the damage you'll deal from their +2 whatever, in addition to Foul Play, is just better than Knock Off. Just take my word for it. Alright. We go max attack. I think I think the set on Zerbe is going to tell me to run max HP, max attack. But with my Conkeldurs, I like to run, oh god, what? Oh, that's a double set, okay. Yeah, they actually tell you to run, near max special defense instead of HP. But I would sooner say, like, go, like, 401 in HP over here. So 200 EVs and then throw the rest in special defense. And make it adamant. Because Conkeldurr, he don't need speed. I don't even know why they put him on there. Let me read real quick to see why they do that. Oh, it allows it to outrun other Conkeldurrs and Hippowdons. Okay, big whoop. That's whatever. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so we got 2 physicals, a support, a special. We need another special. Now around this point is where I like to have a choice user, particularly whichever one I'm currently on next, their respective items. So since we're on a special attacker, either a Specs or a Scarfer. I'll go with Porygon Z for this one, because he's, in my opinion, one of the most underrated special attackers around. And as you may know, one of my favorite Pokemon. We'll make him a choice Scarfer because outside of Metal Face over here, we don't have anybody that's like super duper quick. And he's only quick once he Mega Evolves. And if you didn't know, on the first turn where you Mega Evolve, your speed is actually the base Pokemon's speed. So like, when he Mega Evolves on turn 1, his base speed will still be 70. It'll have to be until turn 2 where you'll actually get your 110. So always keep that in mind. That's really important if you're using Mega Beedrill, because Mega Beedrill's speed, which you can't see, but it doesn't start at 145, as obviously I'm mentioning here. It starts at 75 with regular Beedrill, so you're going to want to be wary of that. But yeah, back to what I was saying with Porygon Z. We're going to want someone really quick. So, let's see. Choice Scarf download, Tri-Attack, Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, Shadow Ball. One thing to note about Ghost in this generation is because It and Dark now hits Steel for neutral, you really when you're picking between a Ghost move or a Dark move on somebody, I generally like to always go with the Ghost move, because even though Dark isn't nothing's immune to Dark, Dark is resisted by more things than Ghost, because Ghost is only resisted. The only things that resist Ghost are Dark and Normal, and Normal doesn't resist it so much as it is outright immune to it. But still, you want to have Ghost, because there's more pokes weak to Ghost than there are Dark. Even though, again, Ghost and Dark basically hit the exact same things. It's up to preference, though. We'll go max special attack, max speed, and we'll go modest, because Timid isn't going to help him out that much more, because Choice Scarf will boost his speed by 50%, so he would gain, let's see, 153, so he'd be sitting at 459, yeah, that sounds about right, 459, whereas with this, he's sitting at, let's see, I don't want to math, 140, let's say 149, okay, add on to that, you get 421 or something like that. It's not as important, and you're going to be outspeeding most things with base 90 speed and a Scarf, so you don't have to worry about that. Plus, with the modest nature combined with download, if you know your opposing Pokemon's stats well enough, or you've scouted ahead to figure out what kind of Pokemon they've got, this is especially important for bulky Pokemon, download will actually help you a lot more, because download will basically give you the choice specs boost more or less if you get a special attack boost on Porygon Z. Okay, so let's look at the team. So far, I don't think there's that many shared weaknesses. The big one I see right now is we share a fairy weakness between Conkeldurr and Mandibuzz. We share excuse me. We share a ground weakness between Rotom and Metagross, even though again it doesn't matter as much for Rotom because he has Levitate. So far we're doing good. We've even got a ghost immunity with Porygon Z, which you'll never switch Porygon Z in on something that'll have like a ghost move most likely. But I mean, it's there if Metagross is fearing a ghost move. Same for a dark move. You have Mandibuzz and Conkeldurr both back him up on that, which is really good actually because Dark and Ghost are really good this generation because of the buff they got. So let's round things off with one more physical guy, I think. Yeah, that sounds about right. Now for this one, we're probably gonna want a banded user. If I have to pick somebody, it's probably gonna be probably Talonflame actually, because even though he shares weaknesses with Mandibuzz, with Rock and Electric, and nobody on the team is outright immune to Electric, Conkeldurr and not Mandibuzz, Rotom will be able to take the hits well enough, and Mandibuzz will be able to defog the rocks out of there that Talonflame's going to be worried about. In addition to this, you won't have to worry about Sticky Web because Mandibuzz is flying, so it won't get caught in it. So you'll be able to blow that away, which will help for Porygon Z and Metagross, since if they come in on a Sticky Web, their speed will get lowered, and that'll be pretty bad for both of them because these two are your fastest members on the team, bar Talonflame. Talonflame, there's not much to say here. Choice Band, Brave Bird, Flare Blitz, U-Turn. What else does Talonflame get? Doesn't he get a fighting move? I actually don't use Talonflame a whole lot. No, not Bulk Up. Will-O-Wisp? Oh, Sleep Talk. Okay, we'll go Sleep Talk. That way you can have something to eat sleep status if you need to. Speaking of sleep, with Mandibuzz, Mandibuzz will be able to dodge Spore and Sleep Powder and all that stuff with its ability Overcoat, as well as making it immune to weather effects, which will be, again, really helpful because Mandibuzz does not want to be taking any more damage than it has to. And the most damage it'll take outside of attacks is through Stealth Rocks, most likely. Since, well, actually that's the only thing it can get hit by, because it's immune to spikes and toxic spikes. So yeah, you'll have Talonflame for sleep fodder if you want to switch it in on a predicted sleep move. That way you could still hit stuff really hard in your sleep, and even better, you don't have to worry about Sleep Talk and Rest because he doesn't have it. So let's go max attack, max speed. I'm pretty sure Talonflame is meant to be adamant. Yeah, adamant. Oh crap, I was looking at the VGC sets. Is there not a banded set for OU? Oh, okay, there is. Alright. Alright, still the same moves though. Or you could put Roost or Tailwind, but generally when you got a choice item, you don't want to lock yourself in on Roost or Tailwind, in my experience. I mean, hey, if that's your cup of tea, go for it, but it ain't mine, so there you have it. So there we go, there's our team. Pretty solid all in all. We've got everything I like to have covered. We've got really diverse move pools on everyone. I could take Ice Punch off, honestly, and put Poison Jab, which I think I'll do, because we've got Ice covered with Porygon Z over here with Ice Beam, so we're good on that front. But yeah, we got everything covered. Dual stabs on everybody that can make actual use of them. Rotom, we got dual stab, water electric. Conkeldurr, we got two stabs of the same type. Tri attack on Porygon, and Flare Blitz and Brave Bird on Talonflame. We've got 3 defensive Pokemon, which is really good for tanking hits. And we got pretty much an even number of special and physical attackers, even though Mandibuzz is technically eating up a special slot. I tend to lump in support Pokemon with the special slot because generally, if you look at OU's filled with more physical dudes than it is special, which I'm pretty upset about that because I would like for it to be half and half, but I do admit that, you know, physical attackers are a bigger thing. But yeah, we're pretty much set with this. The only thing we've got to worry about is the only thing that's worrying about rocks at all is Talonflame and Mandibuzz, and Mandibuzz will be able to support the team by just blowing them out of there. This is generally what I call a hyper offensive team with 2 bulky dudes at least, because I don't really consider Conkeldurr outright. I don't consider him as much of a especially defensive or defensive as Rotom and Mandibuzz. These two are, in my opinion, the defensive core of the team. Conkeldurr is more so one of the just heavy hitters who just happens to be able to take special hits really well as well. So yeah, this is pretty much how I build teams. I look at what I do an even 3 physical, 3 special if I can help it. Have at least 2 bulky Pokemon capable of taking hits. Make sure not to share too many weaknesses, which again, we're not sharing a whole lot between everyone. And there you go, pretty much. That's all you really need to do to build effective teams to use in Pokemon. Again, you can put your own personal quirks on things if you want to, which I pretty much did that with Metagross. Because, I mean, most people ain't going to run Home Claws. They're going to run one of the elemental punches there, or Earthquake. Because, I mean, Home Claws, that's just a gimmick. But, you know, my point still stands. So, I hope this really helps you out in terms of team building. I'm going to try to release a couple of these videos where I build, you know, several different teams or build teams around Megas to give you an idea of how to improve team building for yourself, or just if you want ideas in general. So, I hope you guys enjoyed, and hopefully I'll be back soon with another video. See you guys.